think so. Alright, should be going through like this better so you can see the chat. This chats are start coming up right there.
After this, is it after this commercial?
I'll look on it more.
What's asking me to?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna hit skip ad.
Go.
Am I on? All right. I don't see myself up there. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys chiming in. This is my first time doing a YouTube live stream. I see Dave Wiley, Jared Skinner. What's up? I see some of you regulars. Jeff Holland, Ranger Bull, all of you guys, man. Little Wes just donated 99 cents. Little Wes has got an awesome channel. He's just started. So, anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys' support. I really do. I don't take anything for granted. If you're new to the channel, I do a lot of things from interviewing fishermen to tournament vlogs to hacks. I kind of all over the board. And the support you guys have been giving me has been phenomenal. I think I have grown now 13,000 subscribers in about 8 months, and that to me is just like so humbling. So, what's up, Fish Boy, Steve, Taylor, all of you guys, the guys that I always see commenting, you're here, your support. I really do read all my comments, and you guys can back that up. I try to respond to pretty much every single one. I really appreciate that, and you guys, I don't. Hey, Mason. You guys comment if you can hear me, and I'm going to start talking about the chase for my 4th AOY. Can you guys hear me? Because I'm new. Oh, yeah. Hey, what's up, Will? Bailey B Fishing. Yeah, I see you. One of my bosses just said I had a booger up my nose. She just texted, so I think it's kind of crazy. You have a treasure. You're solid. All right, so I reckon you can hear me.
Yeah.
Why can't I see myself on this, though?
I don't know.
All right, so either way, Jeff Holland, $20 for the live 5 lure challenge. Jeff, I appreciate that guy. All right, so guys, we got, an Angler of the Year chase to talk about. And if you follow my career, I'm not saying this because I think I'm the best, but I do have 3 AOY titles, and there's only 2 other people in the history of FLW that holds 3. One of them is, of course, Andy Morgan. You know him. His nickname is the GOAT. And we got Clark Wendlandt, who has been absolute phenomenal on Clark Wendlandt he's a phenomenal angler, been around a long time. Both of them. I've been around a long time, and it would, for me to get AOY number 4, would do a couple things. Number one, it's going to set me in a different category, and I know a lot of you guys who follow me on Instagram and social media, you know I hashtag a lot of this. Never be satisfied, and I probably don't talk about it much on the channel, but that statement to me was said by a coach to me when I was on JV. And when he said that, he used to make us come in the locker room and he used to scream at us. He'd be like, never be satisfied. And I think when you become satisfied, you end up hitting a plateau. Would I love to win the 4th Angler of the Year? Yes, I would. I mean, I'd be a fool to sit here and say no, I wouldn't. But to win 4 Angler of the Years would be, monumental. And I think it would be awesome. So I'm going to throw this at you guys, all right? I'm going to throw this. I want you guys to ask me some questions, maybe my thoughts on AOY. It helps if you guys ask questions, and I really encourage you to chime in. I'm going to be looking at my chat room here, so you guys chime in. I do want to do a little shout out while I'm waiting on some questions to come in, and I want to do a shout out to a few things that has been monumental in getting me where I'm at this year. Number one, You guys know I love to throw a wacky worm. Some of the top baits that I've thrown this year has been a wacky worm. You guys kind of know me as the wacky worm drug addict. Is a wacky worm drug to me? Yeah, but I also want to throw a lot of love to the crankbait. Crankbait has played a little bit bigger of a role this year for me. I know you guys have seen a lot of the fish catches that I've had on the crankbait. Some of the crankbaits I throw are OSP. I like them. A3 Anglers has been a role this year. If you're not familiar with that bladed jig, go check it out. Another lure that's been, we all know swim baits have played a monumental role. That's a whole nother subject. I mean, think about the swim bait crave that came in 10 years ago, and during this last 10 years, swim baits have almost overtaken the crankbait world, the hard bait world. Swim baits are phenomenal. So I see questions coming in, so guys, I'm gonna try to answer them. Here we go. Dave Wiley, you're a big supporter of the channel. Do you feel John Cox is the man to beat, or do you think you hold an edge on brown bass fishery? That's a good question. I joke all the time. John Cox was born with polarization in his eyelids. The man has got phenomenal eyes. He's a phenomenal fisherman. Does he use his eyes a lot of the time? Absolutely. Do I think I have an advantage over John? No, I think it's going to be an even match. I really do. I think we're going to be giving each other blows, the whole tournament. So that, you never know. Tubby Butt, I just saw you starting to comment. He says, when wacky rigging deep water, should I put nail weights in both sides of the Senko or just on one side? Well, if you're putting it on one side, Tubby, that's pretty much a Nico rig. I don't use nail weights much, but if you're putting it in one side, I've never tried it on both, but either way, it could play a role. I've never tried it. That's a funny name, Tubby Butt, but I appreciate it. Who else has got a question about AOY? Let's see. What's up, Greg? About 6. What do I feel about 6 and 10 inch fish? Boy, you've been a big supporter of the channel. I don't throw many big swim baits. That's more of a one-day deal. Most time you're dealing 4 days, you're going to crash 2 of the 4 days. So I stay away from big swim baits. Jeff Highland, would winning the AOY mean more than the Forest Wood Cup? Absolutely. 100%, Jeff. And I think if you ask most people, is the AOY more important than the chase for, is the AOY more meaningful to you than the Forest Wood Cup? The Forest Wood Cup, I like to say, a lot of times you can be a one-hit wonder. You can never win but one tournament in your life. You might win the championship one time and never win another tournament. Tournaments can be, you can come away with a win in your career, but, to come away with 2, it's not luck. Come away with 3, it's not luck. Come away with 4, it's not luck. We kind of know that. But AOY, amongst us anglers, is prized as a bigger goal than the championship. Great question. Let's see. John Black, John's a big supporter of the channel. How will you approach this last tournament for AOY? Pretty much the same, John. I go at it, with everything I got. I know it's kind of cliche to say, but what is your approach to the last tournament? I don't know. I got to check the green fish, and I'm going to check the brown fish the first day. And kind of after the first day, I'm going to kind of, weigh my options, what I think might be better. Because that lake is up. We know it's up. And I got to check both options. I remember one tournament there years ago when it was flooded. It was actually one flipping for largemouth. So gotta look at that. John Cox, what do you think about the Forest Wood Lake being on Lake Hamilton? I've never fished Lake Hamilton. I think I don't get something like this. I have made 20. I think they've had 22 Forest Wood Cups and championships. I've made 20 of the 22 Forest Wood Cups, and the one I missed was on Lake Hamilton, so it's kind of vengeful for me. X-Bass Guide, you're a big supporter. Dave Wiley says, Scott Martin is deadly on Champlain. Do you feel he is Scott's a threat anywhere he goes? You know, there's, I think it's me. I mean, I'm about to sneeze. Who's the one to say excuse you? So I think it's John, me, Buddy Gross. Joseph Webster and Scott Martin. Anybody in the pretty much top 5 has a chance. Scott's a threat anywhere he goes, and he's a great fisherman. Can't take anything from him. Got a lot of mad respect for him, and you never know. So Ryan S. won the signature hat on Let's Talk Fish. I did that the other day. Let's see. Do you think, Marty Price says, do you think one end of Champlain is better than the other? It's funny. Champlain is either you go north to the last, 15, 20 miles north, and you go the last 15, 20 miles south. It's like the middle of that is the Dead Sea. Michael, let's see. Michael Rodriguez is, if you guys haven't seen it, we do the 5 lure challenge where I challenge pros to get 5 lures and they could donate to a charity of their choice. I don't know. Who's got some more questions about AOY? Let's see. BA Outdoors. David, hope you smoke them in deep, suspended, spotted, or deep or suspended. Suspended, spotted bass, and largemouth. It's hard to beat a swim bait. BA Outdoors. It really is. The fort tie will play a factor. Grant says, what is your favorite lure to throw? Very obvious. It is the wacky worm. I love it. If it's not the wacky worm, it's going to be the Perfection Shaky Head. If you're not familiar with it, check us out, perfectionlures.com. Anthony's a big supporter of the channel. What's up, Anthony? Is it going to be a drop shot slugfest on Champlain? And do you not worry who's fishing against for the AOY, or you just fish your strength? That's a great question. Anthony just asked. He says, do you worry who's fishing, who you're fishing against for the AOY, or are you just fishing your strengths? I approach every tournament the same. My opponent, and I know this sounds cliche, my opponent is that bass. I don't care if B-Lat's behind me, or Scott Martin, or John Cox, or who's behind me. When I enter the game, and when we blast off, there ain't but one thing that's focused on my mind, and that's that fish. And I think if you gear your mind of saying, hey, what has John Cox got? I wonder if Scott's catching them, or whoever your opponent may be. I mean, naturally, I think that's going to throw you off your game, and you're not going to be as high up as you think you are. Let's see. Kirk says, are you going to target anything other than smallmouth? Kirk, the first day I'm going to kind of go out. I got to give the largemouth a test. They always are a player, so I got to check a few places for largemouth, but definitely, yeah. Do you prepare different for chick with AOY on the line? Do I prepare? Ryan asked, do I prepare any different? This one is pretty much the same. I do 3 days of boat prep, packing up. This one I actually going to be gone a while, so I'm actually packing for the championship. But as far as doing anything different, no, I'm kind of the same. Lyle Rudd says, "How confident are you winning the AOY?" All right, Lyle, that's a great question because in fishing, I gotta make sure I answer this right, Lyle. How confident? I'm confident in my abilities to say I think I have the skills to and the mindset to win Angler of the Year. I'm not saying I'm going to win Angler of the Year, but I think I had. It's like saying, do you think you can make a foul shot? How confident are you in making this foul shot? Well, I'm confident that I've made 10,000, foul shots in my life. But for me to say I'm going to make this one or I'm going to win Angler of the Year, you're never going to hear that come out of my mouth. I can answer that quick. There's a fine line in confidence and cocky. A lot of times people mistake confidence as cocky. I'm confident in my abilities. I'm confident in what I've done. But cocky is saying this. I'm going to go out and catch 5 bass tomorrow. That's cocky. Or confidence says, you know what, I feel good about it. I like my chances, and I think I have the right equipment, the right rods. I think I have the right area. I feel good about it. That's just confidence. So for me to say I'm going to go out and win AOI, you'll never hear that come out of my mouth. Eddie Mook, you've been a supporter of the channel. How do you feel? Any more pressure? Do you feel... Eddie, that's a good question. Eddie, do you feel you could step up your game and become more focused? I think this year, very obvious, blah, blah, blah. I think very obviously this year I have refocused my fishing. And I want to do a video on, that says what makes the roller coaster, what makes fishing such a roller coaster? Because it always puzzled me. If you go back and watch that video that I did with Who is Brian Latt, he mentioned tennis. And tennis is one of those things that it's a sport that just fascinates me. And what I mean by that is that tennis is a game where somebody might beat you 6-love. And you're like, totally, you're the better opponent. And then the next set, I beat you 6-love. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. You clearly just beat me. So what was the difference? Why did that guy, clearly he was the better athlete. Clearly he was a better opponent. And then all of a sudden, I beat him 6-love. We see that happen all the time in tennis. And what is that? What was that change? Why did he become the better athlete versus the other guy coming the better athlete? And it's always fascinated me. Tennis is like that, just a sport. I played a lot of racquetball. And I think in fishing, to get to your point, I think it was Eddie, that is there a refocus? Is there a refocus in me this year? I think so. In tennis, did he just refocus some things that tweak little things and he ended up beating him? I think so. Ronnie Turpin I'm reading he said, your biggest competitor is yourself. When my wife told me that, yes, my wife, I learned to have fun in front of the boat instead of thinking too much. Yep. Your biggest, a lot of your competition is battling thoughts in your head, or it can be yourself. I can agree with that a little bit, Ronnie. I can go with that. William Jackson says, I think you've seemed very focused this year. Yep. William Hampton's show, talking about herring. Herring are just, if you go back and watch, oh no. I got a herring video coming out, Hampton. It's coming out soon. I just went and shot a blue herring video here recently. Are you going to keep your same routine and stay with Mike and Kyle? Yeah, I love those two dudes, man. We got a good synergy going. It's a cool thing. John asks, do I have any lucky pieces of gear or clothing No, no, I'm not a superstitious guy, John. For definitely not. Yeah, I played paintball, William Jackson. I see you commenting a lot. Energy and mindset. Let's see. Uh, that's a good. Daniel Rodriguez says this. He says, "Hey David, do you focus on past tournaments when making decisions on tournament days?" Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You got, you got to fish the moment, and that's so true. Like it can change hour by hour. Thinking of past tournaments or just past uh, situations will help you in your decision of what you're doing on the water. You can't disregard a past tournament or a past situation. We've all learned, whether it's a tournament or been out on the water practicing, Daniel, you cannot disregard that. Do I look at that some to help me make the current decision? Absolutely. But I don't make decisions based on just a past tournament. Uh, Grant wants to know, can I give a tour of my trophy room? I could, but my camera, it'd be a nightmare lifting up this laptop. Stupid tube, no, I've never thrown it. How do you know when to say, Richard asked a good question, how do you know when to stay and when to give up and move? That's kind of the mystery question of everybody. I'll tell you this, Richard, and there was an article, and you could probably Google it. Rob Newell, FLW, David following his instincts. This was on FLW, and one of the greatest articles, I got to say myself, is that one of the greatest articles that I've ever read, and even though I was the one that did it, it was an article where I talked about trumping your instincts. And you can get yourself in a situation where you trump your own instincts, which means, say in your thought you wanted to pick up you heard, try a crankbait. And then you have that battle in your head, nah, I ain't going to try a crankbait. Then you're like, try a crankbait. No, you don't need to try. That's your instincts talking to you. That's something that's bringing up out of the past, a past situation. But you can't, even if you were to pick up that crankbait and throw it and don't catch one, okay, and you don't catch one, you have to feed your instincts, and you cannot look at that as a negative, because you not catching one on that crankbait when it told you to throw it, it does nothing but build more confidence to what you already know. So it was trying something that was unsuccessful, but that unsuccessful moment was a building block to a successful moment that's about to happen later. That's a tongue twister, so take your cursor later on, go back and just listen to what I just said. I know that was a lot, but basically that article is kind of what sums it up. Gavin asks, how do you prepare for a tournament? Whew, that's 3 days of work typically, and there's no way I could answer that. AJW, you always say cheers. I love it. Where are you from? He's a big supporter of the channel. He's always commenting, so I always try to comment back, cheers. What's up? AJ, tell me where you're from. Cheers is not like a United States thing, I don't think. What is the most important prep for the AOY? Greg, I'm going to have, I don't, naturally I don't think it's one thing, Greg. By the way, if y'all have ever had this berry, I don't know, this is a special Coca-Cola, it's pretty good. So there's not one thing that I can say, how do I prepare, for that? There's not one greater thing. The AOY, I've played it over in my head, many a times, looking at who's behind me, what I need to do. It's just like a game, and you have an opponent. A lot of it's going to be mental, but I've been at the game a lot of times. Some people may be able to handle pressure. I ain't saying I'm like going to handle the pressure like with veins of ice, but I think a lot of prep work is prepping my mind for what's going on, and so it doesn't bother me once I'm in that situation. Joshua Lee says, cheers. Greg Thomas says, how much does your faith play into your fishing career? Like 100%, Greg? Yes. I know this. No matter, I'll tell you a testimony, Greg, and it's kind of pretty cool, is there's times in my career, and one of the easiest things you can do and fall trap of, we've all heard that, trust in God, right? Just trust Him. Yeah. That's easier said than done. Is to I surrender all. We've heard that question. I surrender all. Surrendering when you surrender everything to God and let Him take control, which basically means let Him guide me on the lake. Let Him be the fisherman that I need to be. It's easier said than done. And in fishing, when you get to struggling, Greg, you get to thinking, you're like, I need to try harder. I need to change baits instead of saying, God, what do I need to do? God, lead me in the direction I need to go. And when you truly surrender everything over to God and surrender it to Him, that's when God just walks you in His direction. So faith plays a big role. That's a good question, Greg. Ronnie, what lure you always have tied on? A perfection lure, shaky head, and a wacky word, Ronnie. Ronnie's a big supporter of the channel. You said Monday. Is there anything special your family do, and how do you... my family, JR, is actually going with me. They're going with me. It's summertime. This is getting ready to be so we're taking some family vacation during this time off. They're going to be with me for this deal. What's up, Phil? Focus on the moment, not what happened if AOY on the cards. Phil, that's a question. That's a statement. AOY just kind of, when I say it follows in your lap. I hate the statement like that song says. That song says, if it's meant to be, it'll be, baby, it's meant to be. Well, that song kind of irritates me because you have to do your part. You can't sit there and say, well, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Well, if a peanut butter and jelly falls out of the sky, then it was meant to be. If a peanut butter and jelly don't fall out of the sky, well, when you could go make that peanut butter jelly fall in your hand, and you can make that peanut butter jelly and put it where it belongs. So I don't believe in if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and just that's the way the cards fall. You still have to do your part. You still have to go make the PJ sandwich. You still have to go pull it to your mouth and put it in there. So you still have to do your part. Nothing falls in your lap is basically what I'm saying. So Derek says, is Scott Martin your biggest threat on Champlain? I'm going to have to say, Derek, that John Cox is the biggest threat, and probably Scott second. I can go with that. He's a stud on Champlain. I got to win on Champlain also. I got a good track record there. Scott's going to be tough. We know it. He's a phenomenal fisherman. So he's going to be Kelty, big supporter of the channel. What is your favorite summer bait? I don't know. Probably a perfection lure, shaky head, or a drop shot, wacky worm, even out deep. New River fish, you better stick to fishing. Yeah, I agree, New River. Yep. What do you prep first spot? Sometimes stick with your plan or change. Jason. Jason's a big supporter of the channel. What's up, Jason? He says, then do your part, DD. I'm going to try to do my part. Absolutely. What's up, GYA vloggers? Dave Wiley asked, does social media stuff get in the way? You know, there's in anything in life, you put priorities. You know, you categorize priorities, and it's kind of like your punch list of the day. Sometimes your punch list is, I want to mow the lawn, go do this errand, go do this errand, go do this errand, and then all of a sudden mowing the lawn was number one, and then it falls down the line. There's a happy medium when it comes to running social media, putting value in that or value in your family. It's a thin line to walk, but yes, it can get complicated at times, and it you know, it does affect what you do out on the water, of course. Let's see. Scott Housewright, first comment, he's a big supporter. Joshua Lee, big supporter. He said, I think John Cox disliked your live stream. Just kidding. Oh, John, he's an awesome fisherman, awesome laid-back dude. He's awesome. Daniel says, when am I coming back to Kissimmee? Who knows? Actually, I'll be down in Florida here in a month around ICAST. I'll be fishing down there. So I'll be down there here pretty soon. What's up, John? See you later. Randy, have you used Strike King Zero Green Pumpkin? And it works very well. I use it. I haven't used it much, Randy. If you're flipping it, I could see using a zero. If you're flipping it, it's a slow. I know that bait's a slow sinker, so I tend to stay away from the zero brand. I agree, Johnny Large. It's going to be exciting. You know, any of those guys you're talking, it would be cool. Fishing Lake Country, what's up? He actually did a video on my shaky head. So if you guys, can you updates on? All right, so my man is asking, what are my thoughts on MLF buying FLW, and if so, what is your feelings on that? Boy, that's there's a lot of exciting things happening over at MLF, guys. It really is. But we on the FLW side have a lot of exciting changes that are happening. There's a lot of great things. I've heard of, of course, the strong rumor of MLF buying FLW. It's real. It's not a rumor. It's definitely, I got confirmation that when I say it's not a rumor, meaning there's talks going on. Are they officially going to buy FLW? If they do, am I going to sit here and say I think it's negative that they buy us or a positive? I don't know. They got a lot of positive things going over there, and I think if they acquire us, I think there's going to be a lot of positive, even more positive things on FLW side. I think it's premature to answer. I think a lot of us didn't know about BPT. They're 5 or 6 tournaments in, and it's like a honeymoon. You're kind of watching, anytime a big change happens or in life, or there's always that honeymoon stage. And once you find out the truth of the matter, once that honeymoon stage gets there and you crest and you go a different direction, that's a we're going to see. Is the honeymoon, is it fading off? I don't know. I really don't know what to comment. It's premature, but the rumors definitely are true. Any more questions on it? You think suspending jerkbaits might be a... Josh, that's a cool question because, probably if I had to guess, what is my biggest weakness, right? What is my biggest weakness? Definitely I'm going to have to say a jerkbait. I I've gotten over the last few years better with the jerk bait, but if I had to guess, that's probably one of my weaknesses. And what I've noticed is that, we know that we have the double deep jerk baits. We got a standard jerk bait with just a short bill on it. But jerk baits, I've noticed in the last 2 years, have become a player. It's probably the number one hard bait still left besides the swim bait crave that's taken over. The jerk bait is probably the number one hard bait out there when it deals with clean water that still catches fish to this day. And what it has forced me to throw the jerk bait. So if any of you aren't jerk bait fanatics, you probably need to start throwing them a little bit more and pick up on that. When are you getting in? Put them down says, when are you going to get in on the Scott Martin house? I think they got a full house this year. We'll see about next year. Gamer Plus One says, don't like watching BPT. Hopefully FLW keeps their business. Daniel will be at iCast. Daniel says it's not a weakness, it's an opportunity. I don't like know if he's not. I know. Will D is talking about the spy bait. I don't know what it is about that darn bait. I mean, I really don't. But that spy bait has its time, and I look at the spy bait like a buzz bait. Okay, a spy bait is not going to catch them every day of the week. Okay, it's not. But and a buzz bait is not going to catch them every day of the week. But there's times when that buzz bait is actually going to, there's certain moments when you're on the water when if you've been there and you got to say, hey, this is the perfect time to. There's that feeling you get. You just know, and it's hard to describe, but you just know that this is the right time to throw a buzz bait. Same thing is with a spy bait. It's not going to catch them. There's lures that's going to catch them better at certain times of the day, but there's that time of the day when you just know it. And some of the times of the day, I do like to throw that spy bait when it's calm. I think it's a sight bait, smallmouth or sight feeders, spotted bass or sight feeders. Largemouth, not as much. Can you catch big ones on the spy bait on a largemouth? I'm speaking majority, not minority. But spy bait is kind of a sight bait that they use to track down. And anytime you got calm conditions, that's when you're going to do it. So, yeah, Scott says, when is he going to get a new boat? I got a new boat coming. Yeah. The Tokyo rig, Game Plus One. Yeah. Haven't explored much with the Tokyo. I used it some down in Florida when we fished the World Championship. I think when you got a muddy, silty bottom, it's good. Beards and bows outdoor. That's a cool. I assume you like turkey. Going after turkeys. Jason Walden says favorite lake number 1 is Champlain. 2 is Lake Norman. I really love that Norman. Seabach say, what's up? Put them down. Hey, dude, I love that name. You've been supporting the channel. Hopefully you can bring. That's what I want to see more. DDO hunting vids. Good luck. And yeah, definitely that's in the works. John Cox, is the plan to keep AOY out of your head when Champlain starts? Or do you keep up with what everyone in contention is doing? It's a good question. I don't think you're the John Cox that I'm chasing, but you got the same name as John Cox. Or do you keep up? I keep up with the, naturally during the day, John. I'm not going to be, as much as I can, I'm not going to be focused on them. I'm going to be focused on bass. That's kind of natural. You're going to do that, but I don't worry about them at the time when I get in. Naturally, I want to know what they're doing. I want to know how much weight John had, or people who are in contention, because that can affect my strategy for tomorrow. So if I know X angler didn't do well and I ended up getting a few more points, well, I don't necessarily, might not go for, a 5 big bass limit. I might just go with a consistent. So definitely I'm going to know what they're doing after the day, but during the day, no. Ranger Bull says, don't forget to give thumbs up. Guys, yeah, if you are enjoying it, I think when you do thumbs up, it I don't know how this YouTube works, but if you guys are watching, and I think we got like 130, 35 people watching. If you guys are watching, guys, I do not take for granted the love and support that you guys have given subs. I think if you share, I think if you guys share and like and subscribe, blah, blah, I think that's what helps my channel grow. You guys have been phenomenal. I think we've grown 13,000 subscribers in 8 months. Clapping to you guys. Joshua Lee, man, he's a big supporter of the channel. I asked Andrew Specken if he can outcast you long. He said he can. Will take his challenge on one-on-one battle on your channel in the future. Yep, that would be. I actually did a casting contest. If you go back and surf the channel, it was me, Scott Martin, Fred Rubanis, David Fritz, Scott Canterbury. We did a casting contest, and I actually won. Thank you, M. Jones, for hitting the like button. If you could ever design or modify one soft plastic, what would it be, and how would it be? Woo! Okay, so here's one for you, Kevin. We know soft plastics play a big role. So let's name some of the best, the fish catchingest soft plastics out there. A Cinco, a straight tail worm, and a beaver style bait, like a beaver. None of those have tremendous amount of action. So think about that. The top 3 baits, so all these baits that have big movements and whatever they may be doing, got curly tails and all that kind of stuff, they're not your top plastic baits, so it would be something subtle for sure. Let's see here. You make sure you have your Marshall Shoots some Facebook Live. Yeah, I need to get back, Thomas, to that Facebook Live. You guys have supported me a lot on that. I actually did a Facebook Live post the other day on Facebook, so you can actually go back and watch that. Kirk says, MLF is a different game, in my opinion. A guy who catches quality wins. I like the FLW format best. And so Kirk's opinion is this. He's about the, who can catch the 5 largest bass. He feels, it's funny, Kirk, that I watch like KVD. I watch him on the BP Live, and KVD is actually struggling this year. Jason Christie, he's, we know he's a big slugger. He comes in with big bags all the time. And, every different strokes for different folks, but it's almost like I see, when I watch them on live, it's almost like the guys who love to catch those 5 bass and they want to do the best that they can. I think it's like you look at them and it's like the wind is taken out of them. It's like they're sad. It's like they're now, to me, I like to get bites. I like to get, if I can go out and get 100 bites, I'll take that any day over getting 30 big bites. I mean, that's just me. And a lot of people have the mentality of 5 fish, Kurt, right? They have the mentality of that. And then some people just enjoy. Like I asked B-Lat in his interview the other day, it was a game called Either Or. And I said, B-Lat, the question was going to be, do you numbers of fish or big fish? And I asked B-Lad, I said, numbers of fish? He goes, numbers of fish. He didn't even want to know what the second part of that question is. So, I respect you, Kirk. I respect if you're a five fish guy. I totally respect that. I've been that my whole career. But then there's it's just a different game. That's all it is. But I respect your opinion on that. What is your heavy? I use proficiency rods. Go on proficiency.com. You'll see you'll see the rods of my choice. We got some cool things coming down the pipe. Joshua, actually, Kevin, that was his best tournament of the year. Was there at I think the second time they went, it was his best time. Matthew Harris says you should make a sticker of green pumpkin with DD on the middle of the watermelon and DD in the middle. I bet you would see more of those. That's true. J.R. Mitchell says, if in your travels across the country, have you found a better biscuit than Owen's Market? Absolutely. He has got the best biscuit in the world. So if any of y'all on 460, it's a local guy, J.R. Mitchell, I know who you are. Let's see. Have you ever fished or been in Nebraska? Luke Garcia. Luke's a supporter of the channel too. No, I haven't. Hampton Scholl says, what is the funniest thing that happened to you on the lake? Probably when I was guiding, I had a lady catch a striper. Her hook hooked the eye of a swivel, and a striper was attached to a Strike King diamond shad. This is how long ago it was. And she caught the striper by hooking the leader, and she hooked the swivel and caught that striper off of it. That's, to me, and I told her, I'm like, oh my gosh, lady. She's like, yeah, that's cool. And I'm like, lady, you just did like a 1 in a kabillion chances of things happening, and she didn't get it. Whatever. She just didn't get it. If you were Daniel, if you were at fishing MLF, you would kick some bass, go around in circles. I think it would fit my style, Daniel. I don't know until you try it. Everybody was excited who went over there. They thought they could dominate. I'm sure they thought they could dominate in that style too. But I think a lot of people got humbled. I could go over there and I could get humbled too. What's up, 23KC? Hello, fishing freaks. Best big fish state. I think Texas holds. No, I think Texas is number 1 and California's 2 and Florida's 3. I think. I'm not sure. Flutie Films says, I don't think they'll make it long. They're going to make it. They are definitely going to make it. They got so much money back in that league that they will not go under. So it's whether or not us anglers keep supporting them, which means how long do we watch their live stream? How do we, go to the outdoor channel? I'm not sure. Like I said, there's always a honeymoon stage. Let's see. Fishing your strengths or going with your gut? Cody asked a question. It's pretty cool. He asked, fishing your strengths or go with your gut? Cody, that's an interesting question because I got to go with both of you. You can't, if you go with your gut, that is technically fishing your strength. So if your strength is saying fishing the moment, going with your gut, that is a strength that you acquire. That is a strength that you have. So, but I think in respect of your question, you're asking more of, do you fish your strengths? So it may be a drop shotter. It may be that your strength is a flipper. If you get focused on to succeed, you can do that for one-day tournaments. Let me answer it this way. If you're a one-day tournament like a BFL tournament or a club tournament, you're going to want to fish your strength, but you still have to have that open mind, Cody. You know, part of your strength is being able to adapt. So I'm going to have to go with both of them, but good question. I love that question. Let's see. How does New River says, how does MLF? Well, you got, I don't know. I think some of the biggest stakeholders is Boyd, and then that, I think, what is his name? He owns the Los Angeles Rams, the outdoor channel. I forgot his name. He's a big stakeholder, and I think they got Johnny Morse now as a big stakeholder. So they got a lot of money backing them up. Hampton Skull, he's a supporter of the channel. What is your PB, and what's the biggest fish you've caught in a tournament? My PB is the biggest fish I've ever caught, which was 914 out of Lake Okeechobee. I've never broke a double-digit bass, and so my goal in life is to catch a double-digit bass before I die. So is 914, good question, Hampton. So Jason Walden, big supporter, how big of a change will you make after a bad first day? Well, naturally, if I have a bad first day, depending on my bad first day, if I lost them, but I hope I don't have a bad day and have to put myself in that position. But I see you asking questions. Where's City at? Why ain't City asking any questions? She's there poking you. Let's see. Good question, Greg Thomas. He's a supporter of the channel. I see him a lot commenting. If you were a professional angler or guide, what would you be doing? A good question. I've never seen myself doing anything else, but I know this is probably going to throw y'all for a curveball. But I do love to dance, so maybe a dancer. I love to dance. I used to do a lot of dancing. I can't really dance now, but I do love dancing. I don't know if I could have ever made a living dancing, but it's something fun I enjoy to do. So, yeah, I know you guys are going to be laughing. So, come to Texas and I'll put you on a DD in a week. Well, man, that's an offer right there. Stan Grokey owns the Los Angeles Nugget. She's at the beach. Luke Garcia says, no way. Yes way, Luke. I really do enjoy dancing. Do you like to fish with homemade balsa crankbaits, and do you think there's more pros or cons in fishing with them? Kevin, that good question. I respect you in that question, but I don't give it much thought. I really don't think that bass is sitting there, tuning in and going, see, that was balsa. No, that was plastic. I don't think a bass gives or can even logically think that out. Balsa crankbaits, plastic crankbaits, your O-rings and your swivels and things that are on your baits, they make so much noise, even if it doesn't have a rattle in it. Rattles are going to make louder, but your bait makes so much noise going through the water. If you've ever got underwater and listened to a silent crankbait, it makes so much noise going through the water. So I don't really sit here and put much emphasis on balsa. I'll tell you an interesting fact that back in the day when Pose was getting famous, you heard these people, I don't want to lose this one. And basically those crankbaits were denser and not as dense as other things. And so some crankbaits wouldn't run the same as other crankbaits because the density of the wood. And I believed back in the day that all crankbaits were not the same, only because of the wood. Nowadays, we got plastic injected molds. They're going to run the same every single time. So I don't put much emphasis on balsa. I don't even know if I have a balsa, it was because I saw a cool color. You know, just a cool color in a balsa. Fishboy says, please put this back up on your channel so we can watch the rest. Yeah, M. Jones says it's a reaction bite anyways. Totally agree. It's bugging me to go catch some smiles. You need to go do it. Time for a dance video. You guys are commenting a lot on my dancing. American Got Talent. Gamer says they're waiting on me. I knew you guys would like it. I haven't danced, got really jiggy with it in a while. I'm kind of a freestyler. I do like when I danced, if it's a choreographed dance, you just have to put a rhythm out there. And then if you have a great dance partner, dancing is super fun. So for you guys just joining in, that's what I said I would do, in the past. So, guys, I'm probably going to end it right now. You guys have been awesome. Jeff Holland, if you're still there, I'm giving you a big shout out. He donated $20 to the cause. Jeff, you're awesome. You're a great supporter of the channel. You guys have been awesome. Hey, there's a Armstrong Company. You guys have been awesome. I appreciate all you guys' support. And you guys let me know, do you want me to do more of these kind of live streams? Did you enjoy it? I think a lot of these are like podcast type of thing. Make sure you give, Luke is saying, make sure you give that thumbs up. I don't really know, how this live YouTube thing works, but if you guys enjoyed it, make sure if you're new, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you guys' support. I don't take any of it for granted. And hopefully we can come away with the 4th angler of the year and separate myself from Andy Morgan and Clark Winlet, who are just studs in general. Armstrong, Kelty, it's a first time big supporter. Josh Lee. Guys, I'm going to end it. This will be up on my channel probably now. I have no idea. But Cajun says more live stream. If you guys like it, I'm reading it. Either way, guys, thank you so much. And that'll be... Oh, so here's my outro. We're ending it. I'm giving you the double outro and thumbs up for all you guys thumbing up too. Appreciate you guys. Let's see.